Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general tarot scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So these readings are for the general energies, trends and themes that we're likely to be experiencing over the course of the week. Sometimes world events will show up here. Sometimes it's just a personal message that feels a bit like a rant and a coaching message, let's say. But either which way, it's all under the guise of my intuitive message. Whenever I do these, I will go into my intuition and I will sit with it and I will ask, what is it that we need to know this week? So before we start, as always, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So if you haven't seen it, before I get into this, please don't forget to check out the Into the Multiverse video between the midpoint at the midpoint of magic and madness. This video is really important because this specific week we are in between eclipses. We're on the run up to the next eclipse, so we are kind of in that sort of portal bubble, sort of really weird nebulous realm. Okay, so check that video out. You can see it, there's a link for it in the description box below, and there will always be should I say, one of those things floating above my head any moment now. With that said, the intuitive message this week was tools are tested in bad weather, and even when wet the rope still knots. So the reason I say this is, what I could see was just like a loop of rope, and it was hanging on the thing outside, and the rain and the wind were blustering it and it was just getting absolutely battered, but then when somebody took it to tie something, it still worked. It was just wet, right? And so the message that I took away from this was literally that, like, our tools, whether these are your inner mental faculties, your spiritual tools, gifts, etc., our tools are tested in the bad weather, and they are still good even when they are not in what we would consider their prime or their optimal conditions, right? So when we think about this, like for me, that's what I took out of it. And so in any area of your life this week, you're invited to remember, perfect doesn't always mean better, and you can start where you are with what you have available to you, and you'll be surprised at how well it still works, even if it is, I mean, obviously you wouldn't build a house out of tissue paper. That would just be silly, but you get my point, right? So with that, let's get into it. What is the destiny card for the week ahead? And so this week our destiny energies are the Fool card. Yeah, of course. Not only is this new things, new people, new places, this card often shows up when moments of destiny or fated energies are around or show up for us. This is definitely a fated week. It's definitely a karmic week because we are in between eclipses. It's not even until the week after this, on the very first day of the week after, that's when the lunar eclipse in Scorpio is going to hit. That being said, the Fool card is a point of inception. So the number the Fool card has a number, even though it's not an actual number as we understand them. It's the 0, right? Which is the cosmic egg. It's the cosmic womb. It is pure power and potential for the shaping. So really, this is a week where not only are fated events, moments and synchronicities likely to show up, but there are likely to be tips, tricks, hints, glimpses at things that are likely to be shaping up and things that are likely to be closing down. Again, if you haven't seen that midpoint magic and madness video that I put out, please watch it. There'll be so much in there that you can take away from it that will help you make sense of this week and this time. The other thing with the Fool card, that little doggy that is accompanying the Fool as he's haphazardly walking towards or around the edge of a cliff, is our instincts and our intuitions, or our tools. And there are times when, as an example, if you've seen the Wonder Woman film, her lasso thingy, it starts to glow when there's and that's not the only example I can give you, if you've seen any of the Lord of the Rings films, the blade glows blue when there are orcs around. So sometimes this isn't necessarily, like, even if your intuition misses it, your environment and or your tools isn't going to. All right, so pay attention to the things that seem out of place or odd this week. Pay attention to your conversations as well. With that, let's get into our direction. How do we best tap into that full energy if we can, and if we can't, what may we need to be aware of? And here we have the Three of Swords. Okay, so this may be a spontaneous ending or a completion for some of us. We have the World card, of course we do, right? That's a full circle moment if ever I saw one. So this is all of us in some way, shape or form. We're gearing up to a very big completion. And then we have the Temperance card. So here's where this gets interesting to me, right? There's so many things here that I want to say, and I'm having to remind my brain to put them in a sequence. The Fool card is that pure potential. We've got the Three of Swords. The World card is number 21, but technically it's the 22nd major arcana. 22, even though it's a master number, you simplify that, it gives you the number 4. The Temperance card is number 15, 1 and 4, it's number 14, 1 and 4 gives you 5, 3, 4, 5. This is an acceleration, I got goosebumps just talking about that. This is an acceleration towards a completion. Now, I'm gonna break this down a little bit further. The Three of Swords there with the Fool card, that's, like I said, we're gearing up to a separation, an ending or a completion. With the World card, this has us already in the space. And not only are we between worlds at the moment, this is why I say there's so much information coming in at the moment. I'm like, okay, guys, slow it down, because, you know, Three of Swords with the Fool card. That is a moment of completion and ending, and it may be one that is a little bit sore, all right? With the World card here and the Fool card, the Alpha and the Omega. This is the start and the begin. This is the beginning and the end of something. This is an inception and a conception point, which I find really, really powerful. What really hits me with this as well is that World card is also mastery. We're in between eclipses, so we've got 1 foot in this world and 1 foot in the next world, which is very, very powerful. And because the World card represents mastery and taking something to that next level, this is really about cutting away or releasing or stepping out of your past and really directly into your future. And then the Temperance card is about finding a way to blend not only all aspects of yourself, but also to bring together all the pieces of you. Remember, the Temperance card is about blending things. It's about bringing a part of this and a part of this and making a cohesive, equilateral kind of energy about it, which is fantastic. The Temperance card is also a card of profound healing. Why? Because it follows the Death card. So this represents the peace that we feel once something has come to an end, a completion or a culmination. So this for me, I think, is very, very powerful. I love it. I absolutely love it. How does this help us tap into the energy of that pure creation? Truly, by stepping out of the old and into the new and being prepared to let go of what shows you, demonstrates to you what you are ready to release or to let go of now. For our insight cards, what may we be needing to see on, you know, behind the scenes, or what might be happening behind the scenes that we're not aware of? Okay, so we've got a jumping card, which is the Three of Wands. Fantastic. You know, so this is not only new horizons, but broadening our understanding of something. The Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so, I mean, this in itself is about really allowing ourselves to have and be the most refined part of ourselves. And then we've got this with the Nine of Wands, right? So 2 nines represents receipt. And you've got this with the Three of Pentacles. That Nine of Wands In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, this is actually about having the courage to say what needs to be said, or to have the, to stand for yourself and recognize your vulnerabilities. But you couple this with the Nine of Pentacles, and then suddenly, and in this specific deck, the Morgan Greer deck, it's actually about, you see him like he's ready to do battle. It's about riding out for something. You couple the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands, and this is about really going through the process of building a dream from the ground up and allowing yourself to dream it big without having to censor or edit it just in case it seems like it's too big, or oh, maybe I'm being arrogant, or like, no, this is none of that. And that Three of Wands is basically saying, feed your dreams, feed your desires, expand them, grow big and go big. I love it. I absolutely love it. So this is going to be a very interesting week for sure. Especially as we're on the run up to that eclipse. I think you've got your blueprint as to what you need to be getting on with or doing over the course of this week. On the wider world stage, that Temperance card, I think that we're going to see, because it's Temperance with the Three of Swords in the world, I think we're going to see a divergence of a community. I think we're going to see some part of a country start to break away from another part of the wider whole. I don't know if anybody remembers the thing that happened in Spain a couple of years back, where a part of their country were like, they wanted to declare themselves a sovereign state, etc. I think this may very well be something like this. It also suggests, on the opposite end of that, another community that is already fractured or split may now start to knit itself back together, which could be really wonderful. And then for these insight cards, what may be going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of, this whole thing with Elon and Twitter, oh, when I tell you, that is literally just the tip of the iceberg, and we are very likely to see a lot more developments on that front. So it will be interesting to see how it all shapes up. All right, with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon.